We didn't do it yesterday because we reacted to the breaking Elias Pettersson news, so we want to give the people what they want, Sat.
Yeah.
And that is overrated, underrated. Hit the music.
And the thing I like about giving it an extra day instead of just jumping into it, now we get the extra questions coming in after the Elias Pettersson stuff, right?
Yes.
So it is still going to be a very Elias Pettersson-centric, overrated, underrated, or at least, everything that's involved with Elias Pettersson.
There's a lot. I
There's a
think
few
people
things.
are wondering about when it comes to Elias Pettersson. All right, Josh Elliott Wolf.
All right, we will start with this one from Hockey Watch and Woodrow. Moving to Raleigh, overrated or underrated?
I've never done it myself.
You know what? I would say I've never been, but I've seen, some footage and videos and stuff of Raleigh and Carolina. It's really nice. Like, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice spot. Like, you think of, Raleigh, Carolina, where it's, the middle of nowhere, like Booney Town or something. It's like, no, it's actually a beautiful place.
Well, as a guy who enjoys golf, Carolina has got quite a bit of golf, especially South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Right? You could probably enjoy life in Carolina. I feel like most American cities are kind of the same but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like, especially the ones that are on the smaller scale. Like, is Raleigh all that different from Pittsburgh? I don't know, right? I've never been to Raleigh. They've probably got great barbecue.
Yeah.
I wonder, if you are potentially, thinking about the idea of moving to North Carolina, do you listen to Petey Pablo to get yourself hyped up?
You might have to.
Yeah.
You might have to.
And be like, you know what? This is my jam. North Carolina, born and raised up.
What
your
about
shirt off.
overrated, underrated? Moving to Raleigh.
Does Josh even know that song? He probably doesn't even
No,
know
He
that
has
song.
no idea.
You don't know. Costa knows the song, right?
Costa knows what's up.
Okay.
Moving to Raleigh to play for the Hurricanes. Overrated or underrated?
I'd still say I'd say maybe overrated. I'm not as big on the whole Carolina Hurricanes experience as many are.
Do you want your coach to be more fit than you are? I don't know.
I mean,
okay.
the Canucks might be dealing with a bit of that right
Yeah.
now too.
That's fair.
Well, yeah. What was it? JT? Who was talking about? Was it JT was talking about Talkit?
Yeah.
And how he does stuff at the gym. You're like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's like 50-year-old just lifting crazy weights. I mean, you see when you see Talkit up in person, he's in good shape still.
He's still in pretty good shape. I don't know. Carolina is just I called them earlier today the Blue Jays of the NHL. They seem to be second to any star player potentially getting traded, and star players generally aren't going to play there, but they've got a pretty decent team. They've got some good young talent. They're built well. They've got a good cap picture. There's some nice things about the Carolina Hurricanes. You have the potential of winning. It's just you're always going to be, it feels like, the third or fourth best team in the Eastern Conference and never any better. And I don't know how enticing that really is.
Next one from Sue. Pettersson's potential contract. Overrated or underrated?
I'd still say underrated because I think the overall, take a lot of people have is, it's a lot of money. And how on God's green earth is he going to be able to add surplus value at some point? And we went over this quite a bit yesterday, too, talking about it. But percentage of cap numbers change because he's going to get locked into a number for however many years, and the cap's going to go up. So his number is going to look smaller relative to the cap as the years go by. That's one part of it. And I think we're going to see more players get paid that in a few years – there'll be some guys making the same amount of money, if not more, that you look at and say, well, Pettersson's a better player.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to take care of itself to some degree, just with inflation and time and the cap moving around. But I also think the player is capable of so much more than he's shown so far. And I'm kind of bewildered by the notion that people think he can improve significantly. I think just from a more physical maturity and strength standpoint, which I believe he will add as he gets even older, that's going to give him a huge boost. Considering his work ethic, how driven he is, I think there's at least one or two more levels to his game that he's going to find. He's only 25 years old, so I'd say underrated, whatever contract he signs.
So, it's hard to overpay a player of Pettersson's caliber. So for me, this answer is always going to be underrated. You've heard me talk a lot about percentage of the cap. Like when Sidney Crosby signed his 12-year mega deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins, at the time it was worth 12.6, or it would be in today's day and age worth 12.68 million on the salary cap. If it were next year's cap, 87.5 million at the upper ceiling. So when you look at Sidney Crosby's 8.7 million, you're like, wow, what a bargain. It's like, yeah, it was signed a decade ago.
Yeah, that's a long
time ago. Of course it
ago.
looks like a bargain now. And I feel similarly with Pettersson. Now, 8 years, he'll be 33 towards the end. Is he still giving you $12.5 million value or whatever it might be, $12 million value at the end of the contract? Maybe not, but guess what? For the course of this contract, or most of this contract, he'll likely bring you surplus value to what you are looking at. And the cap is going to go up exponentially over the next couple of years. So we could be looking at a salary cap even in 2 years' time that's close to $95 million at. Like, it's going up to 87.5. Early projections for the following year is an even bigger increase because escrow will finally be paid off by the NHLPA. And so I just don't see a world where Pettersson isn't living up to this contract, and most likely even more so than what we expect when the number initially gets signed. You'll look at it and you'll be like, $96 million? Are you kidding? He's not worth that. And then 3 years from now, you'll be like, well, he's scored 300 points over the last 3 seasons. I guess he was worth it.